Yes, we've seen the president take the oath of office. Some other states have done a similar thing, but we will bring you some of the other states in the course of the programming here today at Channels Television. Well, we also have just seen a presentation. Ngige did take us through pre-2015 to now. We've seen highlights of what to expect. The president tweeted 10 times before the 2015 elections, and now it's got down to 1. So questions about, what are those social media aides of the president? What have they been doing?
No, it probably means he's been really busy.
Yeah, but, the president, yes, is busy, but he still gave a speech in 2015, 2016, 2017. No, missed 2017, then came 2018, and so it went on. But yesterday, Tuesday, the ministers, I think all of the aides, they did put in their letter. The permanent secretaries are running the show now. Not that they're super pamsex, as they say, but Professor Oyebode is still here with us in the studio. And watching that Ngige's presentation gives us an idea, first of all, what to expect from the speech. There might be a lot of focus on security, who knows, and several others. But the ministers now, if you could, because don't forget, setting the agenda, the kinds of ministers that the president should run with to achieve his objectives, his campaign promises. I know you made the point as to when he didn't change ministers for 4 years. Do you expect anything different this time?
Chamberlain, I think we're going to have more of the same.
Oof.
Like Ngige used to say, blessed are those who are not hopeful, because they shall not be disappointed. So, and for me, it's better the devil you know than the angel you are yet to meet. I don't anticipate any radical or drastic change from the Muhammadu Buhari that we've known for the past 4 years. It's too late in the day to teach an old dog new tricks. It has worked for him thus far. I'm not saying that he's going to spend 6 months in selecting his ministers. But after 6 months in 2015, he didn't change them. And he was even bragging about it, that it has enabled the ministers to perform. Whereas some of us were anxious for a rejig of the ministers, at least swap places. Definitely, there are varying levels of performance.
Yeah.
By the ministers. And one would have thought that the president will take a second look at who is doing what and how effectively. But he didn't do that. He stuck by them to the very bitter end. Now that they are gone, and President Buhari in 2015 reminded us that he had more confidence in technocrats than political masters of the ministries. And I don't know why you did not play back the program we did when he announced his new ministers. 2015, 4 years later. That's why I will sound like an incurable pessimist because I don't see him changing his modus operandi. I think he must have his list close to his chest because we gave him lots of flack 4 years ago. He might not want that now.
So this time, perhaps it will be a lot faster.
No, he has said Nigerians should anticipate a lot more changes, if not in essence, at least in the speed of operating.
So now, in no particular order, we'll just take a look at, from the list of the ministers. I do remember that in the last couple of days, Minister of Labour was on sister program, Sunrise Daily, and he spoke about the employment, that the government had created 8 million jobs. CBN had the details, and they went on, they've done quite a number of things. But in terms of how he's performed, how he's handled the industrial actions, both from Labour, from ASU, and general outlook of how he's performed, do you think that, he might be good to go to come back?
No, the Labour ministry is usually a hardship position, historically. Ministers of Labour are not darlings of their constituency, trade unions and what have you. And Ngige has not fared better. I don't envisage his coming back. I think he has reached the limit of his performance. And he made so many gaffes as minister, something even as a political operator. At Ado-Ekiti, during the APC meeting, he couldn't get the name of Fayemi right. He was calling Fayoshe, which is anathema to Ekiti people, as we now know. He didn't get it right. And they were both ministers. So that told me something. It was a Freudian slip, but for me, I think it was damaging to his profile, that he could miss out the name of, because they are both Fayemi and Fayoshe. But the difference is so clear.
Well, I'm sure he'll be happy that Fayemi eventually won.
Well, so I suspect.
Governor.
But I think he's had his day. And then what did he deliver in Anambra? How many votes did he deliver? So his nuisance value in Anambra was extremely marginal. So I don't see a re-entry for Ngige.
How about power, works and housing? Should we have those two together this next 4 years? And for some people, the guests we had earlier on economy, they said power, there's been some difference in the positive light, even though we've had some of the challenges, but compared to previous governments on power?
Well, Mr. Fashola is a miracle worker, because people thought that the president would want him to overreach himself by giving him 3 important ministries, making him the de facto prime minister of his government. And by and large, I think Fashola has delivered in terms of power. Definitely, at least where I live, there's an improvement in the power situation. But I know that the meters have not gone round because I have another address in Ikorodu, and they've not performed. So I think it's a mixed grill. Housing, I'm not sure. We are supposed to have 18 million deficit in terms of housing. Yeah. So maybe it's difficult juggling 3 balls, within, except it's a circus master.
But given that those 3 ministries are engineering and works related, so to speak?
Well, as I said, he's a juggler. Maybe he overemphasized electricity. Because without electricity, you can't make any progress. I remember Lenin saying that electricity and hydroelectric stations was tantamount to a movement towards socialism when Lenin was in charge of the old Soviet Union. So if you solve the electricity problems of Nigeria, I would say you are almost 80% through.
Yeah, for him to have been given those 3 in one position, it means he's regarded highly in the minds of the president. But if, it's a mixed bag in terms of power, works, and housing, do you see perhaps the split and say, okay, well, let there be a different ministry for housing, or while you stay with power and works, or they move him to maybe chief of staff or something else?
No, he was chief of staff to Bola Tinubu. So being chief of staff now is not so critical. Chief of staff is like glorified PA, okay? Bola Tinubu is a senior advocate of Nigeria. He's been governor of Lagos State, in case people have forgotten. Then he's self-assured, self-confident, but he has proven the mettle that he could even handle the difficult 3 ministries in one. Yeah. I don't know. I have no mirror into the mind of Muhammadu Buhari, but I think it's somebody to watch out for. I won't be surprised if he shows up.
What about transport?
Dispensation.
Well,
Rotimi Amechi is, I think, is cantankerous. The way he's related to another cantankerous individual, Wike. They are both Ikwere, but I don't know if Rotimi Amechi, but he was chairman of the campaign committee for the president. So he must carry a lot of stock. I'm talking on President Buhari, has a lot of stock on Rotimi Amechi. And give it to him, a guy who read theater arts in the university. He's performed with his pet project of the railway system and all that. So maybe it's somebody that Buhari would not want to be missing in action. He might remove him from transport and maybe give him something more challenging, because that's a big challenge. The inner, I would say the nerves of government are transport. Once you can carry people and goods across the country, that's a lot of capacity. When you can move people around there, especially at this age of insecurity. I hear generals now are using the trains that he developed between Abuja and Kaduna. So that means, and the Lagos, Ibadan, and they want to do another line passing through Ado-Ekiti, Akure to Benin. So maybe Buhari will not want to change the prosecution of that situation. Although I wonder why at this time and age, the trains that is really advertising as a success story made no provision for electric trains. In the countries where we studied, you just take the overnight express, electric trains.
But that takes us back to electricity.
Yes, I agree with you. But you say they could anticipate that, because the rate at which fuel might be a diminishing quantity with electric cars, and we should be anticipating the time that electricity will drive the trains. In China, for instance, you find bullet trains between, say, Beijing and Shanghai, a few hours, so fast. And also, so construction, maybe Buhari might tinker with the idea of works and transport.
Oh, okay.
For somebody who has a panache for novelty.
You must feel very, sorry, Chimele, you must feel very strongly about how the Ministry of Justice has been run over the past 4 years.
No, Ministry of Justice, you know, it's not a critical ministry.
Really?
It's a service ministry to carry out, to effectuate the intentions of the powers that are. It's a service ministry. In fact, the first time I met the Attorney General of the Federation was, I think, 2 years ago. I was delivering a paper in Abuja for the Nigerian Shippers Council, NBA, and all that. And the Solicitor General knew of my presence and invited me to give another paper there and then, within 24 hours, to Attorneys General. And I met I even told him, I said, look, maybe he needs a lot of PR to have a good image. People look at him like, they said, but I was impressed by his persona. You know, he didn't go to any of the fancy law schools, but he gave me the impression that he knew his onions. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. But you know, there are senior advocates and there are senior advocates.
And speaking about impressions, sports ministry, they've been embroiled in some recent controversy. Well, do you think that will affect him coming back?
It's not just that. I think his persona does not show, does not betray the confidence required. Even the way he's, I don't know who his tailor is, but the way he dresses. And he wants to see and project himself as maybe a Che Guevara for Nigeria. But he's a lawyer. He's a military guy. He came from the military before he read law and was teaching law in Jos. So maybe his sartorial tastes belie, you know, his nuisance value. So it's somebody that I suspect, if the president loves him so much, might remove him from youth and sports to some other place where his tremendous talent could be harnessed for the betterment of Nigeria. But It doesn't come across as an effective minister.
Information is another very key one.
Well, information, I know he had a lot of flack, but Lai Mohammed is somebody I know. He was my student. So maybe I'm a little bit partial here.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to give him a pass mark?
No. I'm saying he's an active guy. You know, he was just PRO for the Airports Authority. But he has 2 degrees. He has a degree in French and a degree in law, both upper second degrees. Law school to upper second. So this is a rugged play. And you know, he was chief of staff to Bola Tinubu. So a guy like that. And then he's changed the ball game in Kwara. Otoge, and he successfully retired the president of Senate. And now the PDP is still licking its wounds over the loss of the empire in Kwara. Because Bukola Saraki thought Kwara was his homestead. But this guy tells me that Lai Mohammed is a gutsy political operator that could terminate the hegemony or the, of Bukola Saraki. So it's a guy I think, if it's not good enough by some people's reckoning, he might be promoted to another place. And he has a very interesting background. As I said, he will be a fantastic Minister of Aviation.
Yeah, but we can't forget security. Minister of Interior, have you heard much of him lately?
No, the Minister of Interior, he has a PhD from a British university. But I'm sorry, when people talk of security architecture, Minister of Interior, Minister of Defense, National Security Advisor, people say they should be shown out the way out. I was tickled when the Chief of Defense Staff, I saw him talking about battle for the hearts and minds of people. That's how people think, in this century. It's not just a question of bullets. No, you need to win over. The sort of thing, you saw the head of the Taliban in Afghanistan talking on CNN yesterday that they want to, America and all this, we should leave their country. They've seen a lot. We have not seen anything in Nigeria compared with Afghanistan. I had a classmate from Afghanistan when the Russian military, the Soviet military were there. So they paid a lot of price. But you look at what are the security needs of Nigeria. If people have, I would say, reached their limit of competence, then of course you try a new hand.
What do we say about, the president is Minister of Petroleum Resources, I think. So what about Minister of State for Petroleum? I think that's Ibe Kachiku.
No. Ibe Kachiku, because of his backdrop, he used to work for ExxonMobil. He has a doctorate in law from my school, Harvard Law School. So it's no pushover, by no means. So what I mean is a guy like his father was a judge, and he has proper antecedents. I don't know why people love to hate him. I think he's a guy we have to watch out for. And they should make him substantive minister of petroleum. He comes from Niger Delta, he's an annual chairman. So there are all sorts of things working for him. More so, you have a Nigerian Secretary General of OPEC.
Yeah.
So you don't want to rustle feathers. Somebody who worked for ExxonMobil. Nigeria is lucky in terms of human capital that we have at our disposal. So you need people who have been tried and tested, who can call the shots in terms of the murky world of oil politics. So I think Ibe Kachiku should be retained.
Can we say the same for education?
I was going to say the Minister of Finance. It's another...
Okay, well, she came in almost when how
Yes.
long? Has she made enough impact for you?
Well, that's why I say it would be nice for us to play back a discussion of the cabinet 4 years ago. I know I gave severe knocks on the head for the former Minister of Finance because I was angry that she went to University of the old North End College of Technology, University of East London. And I said, for such an important position, you didn't even go to the Oxford or Cambridge or LSE. And my daughter was angry with me. She said I gave so severe knocks on her head. I almost swallowed my words because she exceeded my expectations. That lady is quite a lady. And she's gutsy.
Okay, well,
so who will now come? I don't know. The other lady, she looks so mousy, meek. She's not that, she does not have the panache for a Minister of Finance for Nigeria.
All right, Prof.
Thank you.
Fantastic place to live it. Professor Akin Oyebode, former Vice Chancellor, University of Ado Ekiti. Always a pleasure to have you on, Prof.